again, episode 3, Talk to Tings. I'm here with a very special guest, the first female guest on the show as well, and her name is Leeah Dominique. How you doing?
Alright.
Good. Don't be so shy, so relax, comfort.
It's fine.
It's all good. So yeah, basically I wanted to get Leeah on the show because I think what she's doing right now is quite different and special at the same time, because not a lot of women would go into that avenue of work, and I think it's something that takes a lot of confidence to do, to be honest. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about that and get some information out of you, basically.
Yeah.
So my first question for you was, like, what made you go into like this section of work, like the bodybuilding side of things?
To be fair, I started to see a lot of people competing on Instagram, like fitness influencers and stuff like that. And I liked the idea, but I didn't think I'd ever do it myself.
Okay.
Then I went to a thing called Body Power. It's like a big fitness event a couple of years ago, maybe probably like 4 years ago now.
Is that the one in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a big, massive fitness event.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw people on the stage, like I saw girls on the stage,
Right.
and I was kind of like, oh my god, I wish I could do that. And at the time I was I've never imagined myself being able to get to that level and be up there. But I don't know, it was like almost something just clicked from that day that I seen other girls doing it. I was sort of like, well, if they can do it, why can I not do it? So I started to kind of look into it more and more, and then I started almost like just following so many girls on Instagram that I didn't know that competed, and always looking at it, but still not doing anything about it. It was just like an idea that I liked the idea of, but
you didn't
still
know
was a bit hesitant whether to actually do it.
Okay.
And then one day I just contacted a coach and decided to just go for it.
Right, cool. You want to shout out your coach?
I've actually recently changed coaches.
Okay.
So my new coach is called Robert Phil.
I've seen some of his stuff on your Instagram.
He's mental. He's crazy. In a good way though. But yeah, he is. I really like his style of coaching. He's very direct with you, very blunt and sort of a little bit harsh, but I feel like that's needed, because if somebody's always just sort of saying, yeah, you look amazing, yeah, it's great,
it's a bit.
and you don't, it's better to have like constructive criticism to make you actually get further. So yeah.
I like it. So when you was at like the Body Expo, because when I used to work at Exercise for Less, I went to one to do like some things like selling the PT courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they are really like, they're huge events. There's loads of different people there and stuff like that. So what was it about, the women on stage that drew your attention to it?
I think just the confidence that they had to do that. Obviously they look amazing as well, but the confidence they had to walk out on stage in front of a load of people, just in like a sparkly bikini. I wouldn't say that I'm really, really confident, and I think it was a bit of like a personal battle to get to that, if that makes sense. Not a battle, but like something I wanted to achieve. Like I wanted to be able to have that confidence to do something like that. And yeah, they just looked amazing as well, so it just really interested me. So it took quite a while.
So what was you doing like before that then?
So I worked full time in an office, 9 to 5, as a care coordinator. So I worked, while I was at uni, I worked as a carer for years, just like care assistant, helping elderly people, washing and dressing them, looking after them, making them meals, stuff like that. And then did my degree, which I've not really done anything related to my degree whatsoever.
What was your degree about?
Counselling and psychology. So I finished that, and then sort of worked my way up in the care industry, became a care coordinator, which was like I was organising where carers were going, what they were doing, but it was office based, and it was just really boring because I was just sat at a desk all day long, just kind of bored out of my head. And a gym opened. Do you know the JD gym in Seacroft? That opened. The office I worked in was kind of like opposite there. And when that opened, I just started going to the gym every day before work, like really early in the morning. I'd already been interested in the gym before that. I used to go, but just kind of as and when, like not really.
When you got the time.
Like
to do it.
Not really consistently. But then when I worked there, I was going consistently every single morning at 6 a.m. I'd train before I got ready to go to work. And it kind of got more and more addictive. And I was enjoying the gym more than my job.
Right.
Like I couldn't wait to either finish work and go to the gym or for the next day, for the morning to go to the gym. And my job just became more and more and more stressful. Quite a lot of people left, and then we didn't get new staff, and we was really short staffed all the time. A lot of like pressure was on me to do everything and organise everything. And because of the industry it was, obviously it's care, you can't like miss visits or not look after people, exactly. Like you've got to get stuff sorted. So if carers rang in sick, I'd have to be ringing people non-stop, like begging them to work, and sometimes you'd ring like 50 people and you wouldn't get through to anyone, or they'd just say, oh, I can't do it. So it was very, very stressful. Most days I was like staying till about 7 when I was only meant to be working 9 to 5, and I wasn't even getting paid for that extra bit. But that was just how much stuff I had to do. And it got to a point where I was just like, I actually hate my job, like I'm not enjoying getting up and going to work. And I remember seeing a female PT in that JD gym, and I like looked at her and I thought, it'd be so nice to just do something that you enjoy, like to go to work and enjoy what you do. And I kind of looked into it, but then I kept talking myself out of it, the same way with the competition when I first decided to do that. I was talking myself out of it and thinking, oh no, I can't do that. And I didn't feel like I knew enough about the gym. I went often, but I still wasn't like an expert or anything like that. So for quite a while, it was in the back of my mind. And then eventually one day, I just had a really bad day at work. And I was just like, I'm just going to look at this course, and looked into it. Ended up on the phone to like one of the people who like sells you the course type of thing, and just booked it for like the next month or something like that.
And was that like your thing to say, you know what, I've had enough, I'm doing this now, and leave that? Or because obviously you're still at work, so did you tell them that obviously what you was doing, or did you just keep it to yourself until obviously you passed your course and did what you needed to do?
I think I told a few people, but I didn't make it like a big thing. Like a few people knew, but I wasn't kind of broadcasting it, if that makes sense.
You stopped coordinating now as in the care home, and you've dropped down to being a carer again, and you're doing pure gym at the same time. So do you think managing the workload between them became easier after that, once you started doing that?
Yes and no, because I started to do a food prep business on the side as well. Basically, I used to cook a lot and take videos and put it on like Instagram and Snapchat and everything. And a lot of people used to say to me, like, your food looks really good, you should start selling food. And it got to the point where I was constantly filming the food I was making and like making it look really nice, like all the presentation and everything. And people were starting to say, you need to start selling food. So I did, and I used to do that about 2 days a week, plus doing the PT a few days a week, plus doing care assistant. So I was doing a lot of things at once. And it was okay for a bit, but then it got to a point where it was just too much, and I was like exhausted. So I had to start to cut at least something out. So I decided to cut the care, because that was the thing that I kind of had the least interest in. So I just continued to do PT and the food. And then that's when I started to get involved in wanting to do a competition as well.
So you know, like when you obviously dropped the caring to do the other two things, because obviously you like them more. Like, didn't you think that was more of a bigger risk? Did you was it just a case of you wanted to go with the thing that made you most happy at that point? And was it not more financial?
To be fair, it was more what I wanted to do to make me happier. Because it was kind of, I'd done so much of helping other people, doing care, and then being bored sat in an office. It was almost like something just clicked in my head and was like, I just want to do what I enjoy doing. Like, I just want to do things that I'm like passionate about.
Yeah, wake up and you actually want to go to do. Yeah, makes sense. I like it. So like when you started selling your food, was it quite busy when you was doing that?
Yeah, obviously like most things it started off small, but then it got to the point that I had to get my mum to help because I couldn't physically make that much food. And like the most meals I made in one day was 70 meals. There wasn't even enough room in the kitchen. It was like laid out everywhere, stacked up on top of each other.
Like how long did that take you to do 70 meals? Because like when I cook and that, I know that making meals it doesn't take a short amount of time. So 70 meals, like were they all? It's obviously going to be healthy, so there's all different things involved. Like what was like the main dishes involved in that?
So I used to have like a little menu, and you'd have people could pick what they wanted. So like they'd pick a protein, so out of like chicken, turkey, like fish, a couple of different things. Then choose the carbs like sweet potato, rice, brown rice, pasta, stuff like that, and then a different vegetable as well. But that'd mean, because I was giving people choice to pick, people would choose loads of different like mixes of food. So then I was having to make like a different pan of every different thing. So it was very time consuming. It took pretty much all day, like from very early in the morning, pretty much all day.
And obviously your mum was helping, so that makes it helpful. That's a lot of work to do that. So like onto like where you got your desire to do it from. So like you went to the Body Expo in Birmingham. And what happened there?
So at the time I was very interested in the gym. I was kind of starting to take it a bit more seriously. I was actually quite unhappy with my body at the time. I'd put on quite a lot of weight. It was actually through the contraceptive implant that I put on so much weight. It just didn't agree with me. It didn't agree with my body. Because I'd never had an issue throughout my whole life with my weight ever. Like I've never been particularly overweight or anything. I started taking the contraceptive, had the implant put in my arm, and it's like I just went massive. Like I just gained a lot of weight.
What is it, like the hormones in that makes that happen, or what
it doesn't to everybody. It depends. People react differently to it, but my body just didn't react well. Like the symptoms can be weight gain, but I know lots of girls who've got it and don't gain weight, but I unfortunately did, and then I felt unhappy with myself. I wasn't absolutely massive, but compared to being someone who's never struggled with the weight before, to put on quite a bit of like a substantial amount of weight, it felt uncomfortable, and I wasn't very confident with my body anymore. So that was why I was getting really into the gym, because it was I need to make myself look better, I need to sort my body out. So I was already kind of interested in the gym. But then just seeing the girls on the stage, it just was like fascinating to me. Like I just was so interested in how they had the confidence to go up there and do that, how they could physically make their bodies look that way. Like I didn't know how to do it, but I was just intrigued to find out how to do it.
So like when you was watching them on the stage, obviously that was your inspiration to then go forth and try that out yourself. Like what was like your first steps into it? How did you first manage to obviously go from doing just gym to then going into competitions, and how does it work?
So what I did was contacted a coach to ask like kind of what do I do, how like help me kind of thing. So I got a structured plan written for me, so a diet plan and a training plan. And then I just started to follow that. I then would have a check-in every week with my coach. So that'd be where I'd just send pictures, like a front-on image, a side-on, and one from the back as well, and update them with my weight and like just how I've been feeling, how my week's gone, how training's gone and stuff like that. Then they'd make necessary adjustments if needed. Some people kind of were a bit confused and like, why are you paying a coach to do that when you're a PT? Like, can you not do that for yourself? Which, I could, but it's not the same as having someone else's eyes looking in at you, because
you're
even
just going to see certain things, whereas they're going to critique specifically to what you actually want to achieve in it.
And even like the best bodybuilders in the world have got a coach. Even like the best business person has a mentor and stuff like that. There's no harm in getting someone who's more experienced than you and who knows more about that industry, because I knew about the gym and became a PT, but I didn't really know about bodybuilding. It's quite different, and there's a lot more to it. So for me, getting a coach was like the best thing possible to do, because they were someone who could teach me about that industry and help me get into it.
How is the workload changed from being just a PT to now managing PTs and doing the fitness managing as well?
I think because I've worked there for a year and a bit already, and I know all the team and I get on with everyone, that's a big bonus. It's made my role not feel so difficult, because I know everyone, so it's not like it's not like a new person coming in and you're trying to change everything. It's just actually me trying to make things run smoother, go better for the PTs, because I've experienced it myself and I know what they want, if that makes sense. I think it's definitely different because I've got an office now. I'm not upstairs in the gym all the time. But it's still, to me, it's almost like now I'm able to try and help other people. I think I really like helping people, and it probably comes from my care background. That it's like I can now pass on what I have learned as a PT to other people. There's PTs that don't need my help, that are probably better than me, but there are people, like I've just employed 2 new PTs. One, she's never been a PT before. So it's an opportunity for me to try and help other people now to succeed in that industry.
So like with the competitions and stuff now, like as you were saying before, there's different classes, so it's not like the men's like in weight classes. Like how does it work for women?
So in women's, you've got bikini is kind of the least muscular, most feminine category. Well, not most feminine, because quite a few are still feminine, but it's almost like the beginning stage for the women. And bikini is what I did in the first time I competed. I didn't feel like I fit in that category very well. The girls were very, very small, very tiny. They had like really small legs. They were very lean. They looked amazing, but I just felt a bit bigger than them. Like, especially my legs felt quite bigger, just like naturally bigger. So I didn't place, but I still absolutely loved being on the stage. It was like this weird adrenaline. It's hard to explain what it's like when you're on the stage, because to look at it just looks really scary and like nerve-wracking.
Because there's not a lot of people on the stage and there's a lot of people in the crowd.
But when you get off the stage, nearly every competition I've done, like I've run off the stage like, oh my god, I want to do it again, I want to do it again. Like, it's weird. Like, you get a really strange adrenaline rush when you are on the stage. To some people, not placing would be like a defeat. Like, they'd feel like, oh, all my hard work is like ruined. But to me, I've not placed, and it's just made me want to do it more and more and more. So the first time I did it, I think I got my category wrong because I looked a bit bigger than the rest of the girls. Second time, it was actually a really tough competition. Like, the judges were saying, they made us stand and hold the positions and hold the poses for ages, and I'd say that there was a very high standard. There was only maybe 7 of us on the stage. But it was you could tell that the judges didn't know who to pick. They were even saying, like, they were starting to say to the crowds, like, who should we pick and stuff like that, because it was really tough. But yeah, so the second time I didn't place either, and then I've done it a third time, and the third time I think there was just too many people. I think either 12 or 14 girls, and they only placed 3. So that's a lot of competition. But again, it made me just want it even more and want to do it even more, sort of thing.
So is there not like stages to get to that point? So does it go from like, let's say, 50 to 20 to 14, and then obviously you got your staging of the top 3, or is it just literally the 14 women and then you battle it out for it?
Yeah, so it's the way it works is there's kind of like they're called like regional competitions, so small scale competitions that will happen all throughout the UK. So they're the ones that I've done. The first one there was only 7 of us. The second time there was like 14. It just depends how many people have registered for that show. Certain shows are busier than others. The one where there were 14, it was the last show of the year before the finals. So that's probably why it was so busy. Everyone was trying to get their last chance to actually make it to the British finals.
Right. So how do you get to the British finals then? Like, what do you have to win a certain number of competitions, or do you have to be in a certain number?
So if you get into the top 3 in one of the regional competitions, most of the time you will also receive an invite to the British finals.
So, like, in terms of, obviously, because there's going to, hopefully there's going to be a lot of females watching this, that's the plan. But yeah, so because there's going to be a lot of females watching this who go in, and some of them are wanting to train to obviously lose weight and things like that. A lot of people are under the stigma that by eating 1 meal a day, that's going to actually help you lose weight. Is that true, or how does it work?
No, a lot of the time people who want to lose weight are under eating, and it's a hard concept for people to get their head around, because people think if you eat less you're going to lose weight. You might do if you just start starving yourself. Obviously you're going to lose a bit of weight, but it's not going to be like a substantial amount of weight loss, and it's not going to be consistent. But actually the more you eat, obviously to an extent you don't want to be overeating and just like indulging on all sorts, but if you have got your calories set out like a decent amount, a lot of the time people actually need to eat more than they're currently eating, just to speed up their metabolism. So like personally myself, I'll eat 3 meals a day and 2 shakes as well. So the shakes are almost like a full meal. They're quite a lot of calories. So that's essentially like eating 5 times a day. I'm just drinking 2 of them because I find it hard personally to eat that many meals.
Exactly. So how? So how do you balance off the meals then? So like, is it healthy just eating, let's say, carbs? I've seen girls like just eating carbs, or girls who just eat like protein, or like obviously you got vegan people who are just eating like veggies and stuff like that. Is it essential to balance it out, or is there like a set formula to it?
Again, there's lots of different methods within the fitness and nutrition industry. Like some people will tell you eat a high fat diet, some people will say eat a low carb diet. I think it's whatever works for you, like whatever you can stick to and not feel like it's a restrictive diet, because the worst thing for anyone to do is to go on a diet that they're not enjoying, and then it'll get to a point where they're just like, right, I can't do this no more, and I'll actually spiral out of control and overeat, and then end up putting on just as much weight or even more than they did in the beginning. So I don't think there is a right or wrong diet. Like, I think if it's something that you can enjoy eating, because I don't feel like life should be spent just dieting all the time. Even if you're a competitor, obviously that's a bit different, because you're going to spend a lot longer doing much stricter diets, but they're not sustainable. You don't do it all year round. You'd just be doing it for the purpose of a competition. But for general people just trying to lose weight, I feel like finding something where they're eating healthy majority of the time, but still allowed to have the odd thing here and there, whether that's a vegan diet or like eating high carbs, low carbs, whatever, like just whatever works for them, because different things will work for different people.
Top tip for you guys. So like, when you're training now, what would you say is like your top 5 training tips for the ladies watching, or even the men watching even?
For women, don't be afraid to lift weights. Because even though with social media now there's a lot more females lifting weights on Instagram, and there's a lot more fitness influencers and stuff like that, there's still a lot of females who are scared to lift weights, or have the misconception that weights are going to make you bulky and manly, and they're not. Like, they're really physically not
Mm-hmm.
going to make you look like a man. So I think that's the first one to females, is don't be scared to lift weights. Weights are actually going to create more of a shape to your body, so they're actually going to help people look the way that people want to look. And then I would say don't be scared to lift heavy as well, because again, girls think, well, not all girls, but some girls think if they lift heavy weights they're going to get really muscly. You're not, you're going to grow or tighten that area. So like if it's your glutes, what a lot of girls want to do, if you're going to lift really heavy hip thrusts, you're going to grow your bum more. Whereas a lot of the time girls will just kind of, I see girls in the gym all the time with really tiny little barbells, doing a million hip thrusts, thinking that that's going to make them grow a big bum because some fitness influencer on Instagram did it. But it's not. It's actually better to do really, really heavy and maybe like less reps or something. What else would I say? To train your whole body, so that you're kind of balancing your whole physique out. So again, quite often girls neglect the upper body because they don't want to get manly, they don't want to get bulky, they don't have big biceps and whatever. So just balancing out your body, it's not going to actually make you look out of proportion or anything. How many is that? 3?
3 or 4. I think we're on 4. We'll give her one more anyway.
And then just trying to find something that you enjoy as well, because I think like my choice of exercise is mostly weightlifting, whereas some other people it might be more HIIT style training, it might be more functional body weight. Like there's not one thing that's right for everyone. Like some people might absolutely hate the way that I train, other people might love it, and I think it's just finding something that you enjoy so that exercising doesn't feel like a chore, it feels like something enjoyable that you're actually doing.
Okay. Top tips for you there. So like when, you know, with the stigma obviously around bodybuilding and female bodybuilders, how does that affect yourself? So obviously, as you said, with a lot of females, they have the perception that when you're doing weight training that you're just going to get big and you look manly. But like what's your take on it? Like how does it affect you when people say, oh, has anybody ever like said to you, oh, you're training too hard, you should just cut down, or like anything like that?
The thing that I hate the most is if someone says don't get too big. I find it so like insulting, because what is too big? Like that's someone's perception of what's too big. What someone thinks is too big, someone else might not think is too big. So the current category I'm trying to do, the wellness category, their legs are big, they are muscly. It's not everyone's cup of tea. My mum thinks it's disgusting. She's always like, oh my god, they've got big man legs, like, but that's just my mum joking. But like, what one person sees as being too big, another person, that might be their goal. So then it's almost like you're putting someone down for what they want to achieve, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't like if people say to me, don't get too big. I find it quite offensive. And I just find it quite funny sometimes. Like if I go to a gym that I don't really train at often, like, and I walk straight into the middle of the weight section, quite often I might be the only female, and I'll just have my headphones on and start doing fairly heavy weights. The looks that I get sometimes.
Like how does that feel? Because like there's been times, like when I'm in the gym and I see a female doing the same thing that you're doing, and she's obviously making certain guys who have just started look obviously not as strong, we'll say. But like, how does that feel for you? Like, so you're in the gym and you've obviously started your session and you're going in. How does that go? It
actually doesn't bother me. It just makes me laugh now, because I think I've got past the stage of feeling like the weights area is the men's bit, or it's a scary bit. So I'm not bothered. I'll go right into the middle and just pick up a weight and start doing whatever I'm doing. I just find it it's funny how people still have that perception. Like, I will see people sometimes look at me, and I can see them looking. I don't do anything, I just carry on doing what I'm doing, but I can see people looking, And it makes me wonder, like, why are they looking? Are they looking because they think I shouldn't be doing this? Or are they looking because they're thinking, oh my god, look how much she's lifting? Or is it just like that they're just confused or shocked? Like, what is it? Like, I don't know why people still look. Like, I think it is still, there is still a big misconception around females lifting weights.
So, like, for the females then that are trapped in, like, this mentality of thinking, how would you say is the best way to get out of that for them? Because a lot of people, like with a lot of females, that's the reason why they don't tend to want to go to the gym, or they feel a little bit insecure when they are in the gym because they just think guys are just watching them just to watch them, because obviously they're girls and they're in the gym and the guys are in the gym. Some guys obviously do have that mentality where you're watching the girl and you think, oh, but then it's not always that. So like, how for a female that's just, let's say, beginning or something, how would you say to combat that?
I think it depends on a lot of things. I think which gym you go to plays a large part as well, because there is one gym, I won't name particular gyms, but there's one gym that I've been to which even I have been like, oh my god, why will these people not stop staring at me? And you can go to a gym where guys are creepy and guys are looking at you, so that I don't blame girls for feeling a certain way, because even I've felt like, oh my god, they will not stop looking at me. And I think that's purely the gym that I'm talking about. I think it's purely the population of people that are there not understanding that females can also do this too. I don't think it's really intentional. I think they're just genuinely shocked and are like, what's this girl doing here? What's she doing?
Exactly.
So I think location of gym plays a part, because if you've got a gym like that, it's going to be intimidating if people are just constantly staring at you. But if you find a gym, which there are plenty of gyms where it's not like that, so finding a gym where you do feel comfortable, maybe going with a friend or something if you're really nervous about like doing it by yourself, or getting a PT. I think getting a PT, obviously not everyone can afford it, but it is something that can massively help your confidence. I've had people, I'll give an example of one of my clients, the first session she ever did with me, she said, I don't want to go out into the gym floor, I want to do it in the studio. So we did a few things in a studio. Now we go out on the gym floor every session. Like, she will never want to go back in the studio because then we can't use the machines and things. And like, now she's in the mentality of wanting to go to the weight section, wanting to do like heavy weights and stuff like that, where actually in the beginning she didn't want to even be out there whatsoever. So having a PT can help. Going with like a friend or whatever, having headphones and just not being able to hear anyone, because then you can just like mentally block out what anyone's doing. And just kind of like realising that the gym is for everyone. It's not, there's no sign up anywhere saying it's men's only or anything. Like, it shouldn't be that it's a male thing to do. Women can do it just as much. It's about your health. Like health is for everyone. It's not just for just for males. So I think just trying to get that out of your head that it's a manly thing to do to go to the gym.
Because I think that's one of the key things for women that don't go to the gym, because they think it's something just men do. That's what's stopping them from going. That makes a bit more sense now, So what's your, like, so, you know, obviously you give males like nutrition tips and you say they're in your DMs trying to get nutrition tips. What's like the biggest tip for a man, like in terms of their eating regime? Because obviously it depends on what you're going for again, but like what is the, like an overall tip for like a guy training?
I think just making sure they're eating enough, because a lot of the time people think they're eating enough and they don't really realise how much you need to eat to grow a substantial amount of muscle. So when guys want to get big, like if they haven't got the diet right, they can lift all the weights in the world, but they're not going to be fueling the muscles enough to actually get bigger. So I think a lot of the time, most men that have ever asked me anything about food, it's normally, what should I eat? And then the second thing would be like, how much should I be eating? And I think it's just the lack of knowledge of probably like macros and calories and things and how much to actually eat.
So for the guys out there that have been in there, what should you eat for a guy?
It depends on how big the guy already is. but definitely at least 4, 5, even maybe 6 meals, depending on how big the meals are, and obviously what you can fit in your day.
Right, yes, there we go. So, in terms of, like, your journey, what has been the toughest thing that you've had to overcome on your journey?
Journey as in just the bodybuilding kind of thing, or just in general?
So, just in general, like life or the bodybuilding thing? In
Um,
fact, we'll go with life first and then we'll go with that.
I think life probably, just the whole sort of like self-doubt thing. I don't know where it ever come from or why I've ever been like that, but I think being confident can sometimes be seen as being like overconfident and like you're full of yourself and you love yourself and stuff like that. And I feel like I've gone through a little bit of a up and down thing when I was younger, and I always went out partying all the time. But I think some people saw it as me being overconfident and full of myself and like I loved myself and stuff like that. And that kind of made maybe some people not like me and think that I'm not really that much of a nice person when they didn't even really know me. And then I went through a time of not going out, not doing anything. I lost contact with a lot of friends. I kind of isolated myself for a couple of years, and that was due to a bad relationship. And in that time, that kind of all my confidence got knocked by a person, and coming out of that relationship and trying to gain confidence again was quite a difficult thing to do, because I'd gone from being really overconfident to having someone make you be like really low in confidence, to then trying to just find a balance somewhere and be normal again. So I think that was difficult, and I think that's what led me to, that's not the only thing, but that's partly what led me to all the gym, starting to want to compete and stuff like that, because I wanted to find something that helped me gain that confidence again, without doing it in a way that like irritated people and made people think like dislike me or anything. So I think probably just the battle with like self-confidence and self-doubt and like being negative about myself and stuff like that, I think that's probably been the hardest like battle.
Right. What, in terms of the timeline that it's took you to get to this position, how long would you say it has been in total? Has it just been the time since you've obviously been PTing, so like the year and was it 6 months you said? So has it been just a year and 6 months, or has it been longer than that?
To get to like competing and all that kind of stuff. Probably longer, probably about the last 4 years. So I worked at Pure for about a year and a half. About a year and a half in Nuffield, so like nearly 3. And then before that, about a year of kind of doing the PT course, doing a little bit. When I first passed the PT course, I didn't go straight into working in a gym, because I was doubting myself again. So I just did like little bits of like at-home PT and like outdoors and things like that to begin with. But probably like maybe around 4 years of slowly building up my confidence, slowly building up my like knowledge in the PT world, in the fitness industry, in the fitness world. So yeah, probably like 4 years.
And in that time, what was your biggest inspiration, or who is your biggest inspiration to want to achieve more?
I think I don't even know, to be fair. I think I've got quite a few. I think my coach is definitely one person who I sort of look up to and respect, and I respect his like brutalness and honesty in the industry, because there's quite a lot of people who sort of sugarcoat the industry a lot and make it seem like it's just going to be really easy and stuff like that, and it's really not. There's also a lot of things on social media which make out like everyone's going to place first time, it's all going to be amazing, and it's not. I went to a seminar about 2 months ago with this woman who's like the 3 times world champion in wellness, she said it took 10 years for her to get onto the stage and compete and place. Like, she did all small scale competitions and 10 years to become a world champion. Like, people use social media to post all just the highlights and they don't show the beginning bits. Whereas I'm showing the beginning bits. Like, I'll openly admit I have not placed, I've not got a trophy, I've not placed at all, but I've still posted my pictures from my competitions and my videos because I'm still proud of it. And like, I know that eventually I will place because I want to, and I'm determined to do that. So I think just the honesty of my coach in how hard it really is, and just how he is with me, like his whole approach to coaching really like inspires me. I think then there's a couple of people on Instagram who I just like absolutely love their physiques and their bodies, so I won't really say they inspire me, it's just a bit more like, because I think that it's good to look at other people for a bit of motivation and inspiration, but you should want to look like your best self, like, because your body's not necessarily going to go exactly the way that somebody else's is. You can get a similar shape, but so in some ways kind of like myself, which sounds really like big-headed, but just trying to be the best person, like the best version of me kind of thing.
And then like one last thing then I wanted to ask, like in terms of obviously like your relationship now, would you say the bodybuilding has had an effect on the relationship, or does it affect the relationship, would you say?
I think it can do. I don't think it does that badly with mine and Kyle's relationship, because he understands it, if that makes sense, because he is a PT himself. So he kind of gets why I'm so interested in it. I think I would struggle to be in a relationship with a guy who wasn't into the gym, because they'd probably think I'm crazy, like, because all I do is talk about the gym, like I go to the gym all the time and stuff. So I think having that mutual like thing that we both enjoy, it's definitely a positive, because I think it would be harder to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't have that same love for it as you do. I think when you're dieting down for a competition and stuff, because you're on lower calories and lower food, you can start to get moody and more irritated easily, and you're tired all the time and stuff like that. So I think leading up to my competition, it was harder because I was moodier. So I probably like wasn't as myself as normal. But luckily I've got somebody who understands that and knows that it's only for a short period of time, and it's just until I get to the competition and where I want to be. Kyle's been at every competition I've done, like front row, like screaming for me. So so that's definitely another positive. And then I've been trying for about a year to get him into it as well, because I think he'd do very well. There you
go. Fair enough.
But yeah, I think it definitely can affect people's relationships. It can even affect your relationship with friends and stuff, because if they don't understand why you're always at the gym, why you want to go on a weekend, why you want to like eat more healthier and not drink all the time and whatever, I think it definitely can affect your relationships with friends, family, and like relationships. If you've not got friends that understand, that can be hard, because they will not realise how important it is to you and how important your goals are. So they might say things like, oh, what do you mean you can't eat that? Like, why can't you have it? You can just have one. When actually you probably can't just have one. I think it was probably difficult for my mum to understand what the hell I was doing at first, because for your daughter to suddenly be buying big tubs of protein and like weighing out food and stuff, it's all a bit like, what is she doing? It's like I've gone mad or something. But and she's not really that into it. She doesn't particularly like the more muscular look or anything like that, but she understands that it's what I want to do and stuff. And when I did a show in Leeds in August, she actually came and she was just as bad, screaming in the audience for me and like talking about the other categories and stuff, and she got really into it. So I think like when like a lot of the time it is just that people don't understand it because they're not doing it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got people around you that even maybe they've never done it before, but they accept and understand that that's what you want to do, then it's fine. But if you had a lot of people around you who were kind of saying like, oh, what are you doing that for, or like not being supportive, it would be very, very difficult, because it is quite it's pretty much like a whole life hobby, if that makes sense. Like it takes over your whole life, sort of thing.
I like it. So you come a long way then. You come a long way. No, it's good though, it's good. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for episode 3 of the Talk to Tings podcast. It's been a good one. First female guest, it's gone very well. I'm very impressed with the journey that you've had and where you've gone from where you've got to, and all the best in the future with your competitions, and hopefully we can get you back on when you've placed.